All right, guys, welcome back or welcome to the garage. It's Tush coming at you. It's another day out on the Triumph TR3 project. And if you watched yesterday's video, I'd mentioned that I was going to be possibly looking around to see if I might have another fender for the front passenger side that might fit a little bit better. And it doesn't have this repair area on the bottom of the fender. You can see that brazed in there, the brazed in patch. And this fender's seen a little bit of damage over the years. It's got quite a few dents in the front or in the nose of the fender. Some dents along the top of the fender. You can probably see up there as well. And some dents at the rear of the fender way back there. You can probably see a few dents back there as well. So we're going to see if, I believe I have two other front fenders for this car. So we'll see if any of the other two are better than this one that's on the car. The other thing I want to try to do is try to get the front apron off the 59 at the side of the house. So we'll have to uncover that to be able to do that. We'll see if it's easy enough to get off. If it is, we'll grab it. If not, we'll just leave it for now. But anyway, first things first, we'll look for a fender and we'll see if we can get that fitted if we find one that we think might be better than this one. All right, it's not looking promising as far as finding a better fender. I pulled out the two that I have. And this one on first inspection doesn't look too bad actually from the outside, but then when you look at it on the inside, it's a disaster. Along this top flange here, somebody's brazed something in here along the top and used a lot of heat. It doesn't have a repair on the bottom, which is good. So the bottom of the fender looks solid, but this is a mess. This flange all the way along here, and then on the outside it is a bit more of a disaster all the way along there. There's not even any holes punched for mounting, but yeah, that doesn't look so good. So I think we're going to discount this fender. Again, it's something that is usable. Somebody could fix that. Alin, looking at you, but doesn't look like some work that I want to do necessarily. I think the fender that's on the car is in better shape than this, even with that repair patch. And then I uncovered the 59 out here and had to dig out the other fenders that came off this car. And as you can see, this one already has a repair done to the bottom of it. It's no better condition. Even the repair has perished since it was repaired. So that's not going to work either as far as a replacement fender. So I do have these repair sections for the bottom, both left and right. So that's potential. I might want to put a new patch in the fenders that are on the car, or maybe just work with what I have and fix what I have. So we have options, just not better options, let's say. So the 59 hasn't been uncovered in a while. It's seen better days, but like I said, we had all the parts to buy this. There's the new inner sills. We have got new outer sills for it. We had the patch panels for the bottoms of the fenders to repair those. Just stole the front apron off the car. Let's take a quick look inside. And that's what happens. This was all restored at one point, but having been sat out here for the last 6 years in the weather hasn't done it any favors. So again, as I'd mentioned, I was thinking that we were going to have to probably tear this back down, the chassis and everything anyway, and get it cleaned up and repainted. So that's looking like that's going to have to happen. The body's going to have to come off this anyway to do the exchange with the other, if you haven't figured out what I'm doing already. So, but this is where this one sits. It does have the hard top on it, and I think the glass is cracked on this one, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, big crack in the middle of the glass, so the windshield's not really usable. I had started working on the rear part of the car, so the wheel arches are not in too bad a shape. So the rear of the car looks a little bit better than the front, but yeah, this will need a lot of work to bring back, but I know Alin's up to it. So it just takes some time and effort. And like I said, I think I have most of the sheet metal to fix what needs to be fixed on this car, and then some. All right, so I think we're going to probably grab the bonnet off this eventually. I think this bonnet might be better than the other one that I have, but that will be at a later date. I'll come back and get this. So looks like there's been something living in here and enjoying its time out here. Well, I've been working on the TR250, so unfortunately that guy's going to have to move sooner than later. And there is the aforementioned front apron. It's seen better days as well, but it's actually not too bad. It needs to be stripped down again. I don't believe I did anything on the inside of this. Yeah, it's just surface rusted on the inside. So again, that'll have to be all stripped down and cleaned up. All the cage nuts have been drilled out, so new cage nuts need to go on there. But it looks like it's usable. So let's just say that. So anyway, got that ready to work with, and we'll move on and reassess what we're going to do as far as that front passenger side fender. All right, a really quick test fit of that front apron, and there looks to be some issues here on the passenger side, and I think it's probably compounded by the fact that there are issues, I think, with the fender and some issues with the actual valance itself. So I'd mentioned yesterday that the front fender looked like it had a little bit of a flat in the front, so it looks like this fender down here has been pushed back a little bit. And it looks like this apron has had some damage up in here and down in here. So it's possible that front might be pulled out as well. So this will lift up, I think, to get into a better line here, but you can see there's been some work and some damage in here. You can actually see some little welding lines here as well. So it's obviously been something happening over in this corner. Now this corner over here actually looks pretty good. It fits actually fairly good again. Don't worry about that little area there, that's going to be repaired. But as far as the fit over here is concerned, that actually fits pretty good. So I'm happy on the driver's side, not so happy on the passenger side. But again, this is just a really brief trial fit. The other thing I'm not happy with is there's quite a large gap. There's actually, this is pretty good here on this side. Needs to pull a little bit into that front wheel inner fender. But this one actually has got a larger gap. So again, needs some work on this side. And again, this is really only loosely, it's only got 2 fasteners bolted up to the top rail here just to get this sort of in place. So I haven't adjusted it at all, and I may be able to make some more adjustment and get it better fitting before I go ahead and start playing around and cutting and welding and banging with hammers, etc. So that's not too bad. I was thinking of putting the bonnet on, see what I've got as far as a gap is concerned there at the front and the back, just for fun. So we'll probably do that next. Now I'll come back and I'll have a little bit more of a chat about this fender problem and what I think I might be able to do versus what I said yesterday. All right, having a look back at the bottom of this fender where we've got that sort of stick out because it's not fitting back into that little hollow very well in the inner sill. Now what I might be able to do is I might be able to move the fender forward a little bit and then weld some rod in here, because obviously if I move this forward, it's going to increase the gap in the fender and door. So I could always weld a little steel rod in here to bring this gap back at the top. Looks like it needs a little bit of work up here as well. Anyway, like I said, there's a bit of a depression dent here, which is pushing the tail end of this down, which is keeping the door higher. So this needs to come up anyway. You can actually see a little bit of a line there, a little crease. So I think with a combination of me actually pulling this dent and bringing this fender up a little bit, and then the possibility of me just welding a little piece of rod in here to make this gap a little bit more consistent after this fender moves forward, then I think we're going to be okay. Again, it's a narrower gap than here anyway, so I might be able to adjust this out and not have to do anything. So maybe I'm overthinking it, but again, that's going to have to wait until we get this car on the ground and we get some shims under the body, etc. So I'm not going to go too crazy at the moment. I'm not going to break out the cutting wheel just yet. I just thought I'd give you another quick look at that. All right, let's fit that bonnet from the 59 and see how that fits on this car. All right, the bonnet is on the car, and well, that's a pretty good gap. Anyway, just loosely fitting there, and obviously I think we're going to probably have some issues getting this all fitted together, to be honest with you. It's going to require quite a bit of work. There are some unmovable features, like this cross brace that goes, well, I shouldn't say unmovable, but if this is in the stock location, technically, really the top of this bonnet really can't go anywhere when it's attached to this cross brace piece here at the top. So this really does not move. You can move it slightly up or down, but as far as the line across, you can't really move that. So not sure what's going on there. And at the back here, it's actually too far back. So the bonnet is actually too far back here, and it's already touching here. So that'll be a bit of an issue. Again, this is just a really, really loose fit. None of this is even bolted except for a couple of bolts across that front stringer rod here. So I think what I'll do, just for fun, is we'll put the 57 bonnet on and see what that looks like. I don't think there's going to be too much of a difference, but anyway, this will be the challenge, I think, on this car, is to get the whole bonnet and apron fitted with these fenders, which it always is on any side screen car. I think this is probably the most difficult part of the process, is putting these panels back together properly. All right, 57 bonnet is on just for fun, and pretty much the same issues. It's a little bit better here at the back, but still very tight at the front here, and we still have a pretty big gap. It actually fits better than the 59 hood, but things like the front here, that's not necessarily aligned as it should be, and that's a little bit better on that side, but you can see based on the width of the apron that there's a bit of a disparity of where that bonnet ends on either side. So anyway, there's going to be a lot of fitting and fettling of this bonnet, whether it's the 57 or the 59 that I use. One thing I am looking at again is the place of this structure. And again, I mentioned that I thought this might need to come this way. Looks like it's maybe shifted over towards the driver's side. So if you take a look at the hinge locations, for example, if this is where the hood's going to be, you can see that those hinge points are in, and looks like they need to move over by a quarter to a half an inch. And if I was to go over onto the driver's side, remember I was having an issue with that door. So again, if this moved over to the passenger side, we pushed it this way over, that would fix this piece here as far as the door being in. And if you take a look at the hinges as well, so that's technically where the hood needs to be. It's in basically alignment with the body. So I know there is a little bit of adjustment in here. I'm not sure how much. I'd have to undo this and find out. But here's where those hinges are laying just at the moment, with the bonnet, I think, in the relatively correct position as far as it is sitting here along the front and leading edge of the bulkhead. Anyway, just something to consider as we investigate this car and the fit of the panels with each other. All right, just been playing around out here, and I decided that I would see if I could actually move this top saddle piece a little bit, and I definitely can. And actually that's helped significantly. Not only is the door more in line, but it's also closed up this gap here. There was a significant gap along the front here. So that actually has worked to close that gap and to bring this more in line with the door. I'm actually gonna go and do a little bit more of a push on it. I'm just actually pushing by hand. I mean, I've got a lot of weight and strength behind me, but I can physically move that. So we're gonna move that on this side over to the right a little bit, and then probably go on the other side and see if we can do the same sort of thing and move that over on that side a little bit as well. All right, we'll take a little bit of a break from panel fitting, and we're gonna come back and work on the rear of the car here where we laid some fiberglass filler down. So we're gonna smooth that down and get that down to 80 grit, and probably apply another little skim coat of Bondo on top of that, just to get that ready for epoxy primer eventually. And took a break from sanding and grinding. We're at the Spam Jam Festival in Waikiki, Honolulu. It's all about the spam. This must be the Canadian spam booth. The maple spam. And it's more like it. Looks like some pork belly on there. Quite the lineup. And right on the beach. People out there surfing. Maybe I'll go join them. Of course, you got to do the touristy thing while you're here. Rentals, riding, lessons over there. Boards all lined out. It's a little warmer than home. It's about 29 degrees Celsius here. She's not wearing a parka. All right, now Monday, May the 15th, we're back in Canada, back at the Taj Mahal. Still with this guy, can't get rid of him. I don't know if you can see him. There you go. So we've got the Alpha out of the garage, and the plan was that Doc was gonna come pick the Alpha up this weekend, and it's actually a long weekend up here in Canada, but Doc has now said that he can't pick it up until June the 5th, I believe. So unfortunately, the Alpha is going to have to sit outside under cover, as I need to really use the garage space to get the 59 from the side of the house into the garage so we can start working on that project as well. So that means that the Alpha is going to go temporarily at the side of the house under cover, and the 59 will go in that spot there. So Lynn and I are hopefully going to be able to push this thing out from the side of the house, hoping that the tires are still inflated. That would be helpful. And the grass, I think, is, well, whatever grass there is, it's firm enough now. It was pretty soft earlier, a couple weeks ago. We couldn't have actually got this out if we tried anyway. So that's the job for this afternoon, is to move a few vehicles, and I'll probably send Lynn home with a few parts actually as well. I know there's some parts in the car. I've got some parts over here that are his. There's some new floors, our floors over there. Might give him a bonnet and a few other things, inner sills, outer sills. Got a battery box up the top there that's going to be his, so I'll load him up. He's going to take it in pieces.
My car is coming to me one piece at a time.
Like Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to...
By the way,
yes?
this car's been here since before I ever met you.
Really?
Yeah, and I've never seen it. I always seen the car.
Oh no, oh no. Well,
when I met you first,
so are you telling me you bought this car without it being seen?
Oh yeah, it's sight unseen.
Uh-oh, that's always trouble.
Seen a little bit of video about it.
Ooh, okay. All right, it's going to be a bit of a shocker. Anyway, we'll get her uncovered and they'll be able to see it for the first time. Maybe I'll set up a camera so I can get a reaction video.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah. Oh my God, what is this? Okay. Okay, well, we've dug some parts out. And like I said, we have got a few fenders for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 fenders, somewhere around there. So that's good. Couple fender repair sections down there, which is good. We got a bonnet. Actually, he's going to have 2 bonnets to pick from. And we've got some new inner sills and some other bits and bobs in here. And we're going to go grab that battery box. So we got a new battery box on the top shelf in here. So, can you reach that? Up the top? Or there's a step ladder there. New battery box up there. So we'll grab that for him. And then we got it uncovered. He's still in shock. See, he hasn't said a word. He's like in shock, literally in shock. So here is the 59 project. Looks like the tires might still have air in them. At least on the top. So there it is. A little go-kart. And a few more pieces inside to grab from inside, I believe. Then we'll push it into the garage. Yeah, so it's been out here for, I think, about 6 years or so. So we had started on the back of this car. I don't know if some of you might remember. So we were working on like the wheel arches and the wheel wells, and they don't actually look too bad. We did put a bit of a coat of primer on them before we stuck it back out here. And we did some work on the rear valence as well, which is still looks pretty good. I know Alin might want to go back and redo some of the stuff that I did, but I think I put a new flange on there. So of course I didn't have a stringer stretcher, so we just did that by hand. But anyway, he'll probably want to go back and redo some of the stuff that I did, which is fine. Anyway, we're going to see if we can get it to move and put it in the garage, and then we'll compare it to the other project we have sitting beside it.
It doesn't have steering though.
All right, let's do it. We're going to run over your fenders. Okay, you can't push from the top because the top's not fastened.
Yeah. I think we should go on the driveway and then back it up here.
Okay.
Or how you think we should do?
I can move the truck if I have to.
So if we go all the way down, then we have to push up here.
Yeah, let's get it on the driveway first and go decide whether we run it or if you bother to go any further. Right?
Yeah. Is it too early? It's that side. Oh!
Yeah.
Is it good?
No. I think we're going to hit the east trunk. Can you go around the other side and take the bottom of the east trunk off? That's when we make it removable.
Yes, we get rid of this too. Yeah. We're good.
Push it out and then push it back.
Hmm?
Push it forward and then push it back on the grass.
Okay.
Is that the way we're thinking of doing it?
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a lot of turning, but move these fenders.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that. Looking very sporty. That's not that bad.
Yeah. It's only half missing.
Feel that beating out there?
Is it mine?
Yeah.
You check the rear end a little?
Right.
I have no way to jump though.
The body's on top.
No, I think if we back it up over here, we can straight in.
Good? Okay, that's in the garage. It's christening it. All right, so I'll clean this area up a little bit, and the Alpha will go here temporarily, hopefully. I'll just give that a bit of a sweep or a bit of a blowout. Oh yeah, hey, another couple cars there. All right, the Alpha's in its new temporary home. I've got Doc's cover on top of it, plus another cover, so it's double covered. So like I said, it's unfortunate. It'll have to stay out there for a couple of weeks, but it is what it is. It's probably better there than actually on the driveway. It's got a little bit more protection from the wind, so that's a good thing. And the 59's now in the garage. Alin's now in his car. He's setting up the...
My feet are gonna get wet here.
Your feet are gonna get wet?
Yeah.
Has it got a little bit of a hole there in the floor?
A little bit.
Oh, well, it's free air conditioning.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a hole. Not much. All right. Yes, sir. Yeah, that seal might need to be replaced. It's, you know,
It needs polishing.
yeah, maybe a little bit of Armor All or something on that. I'll fix that.
Gonna polish right out.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So, if you haven't figured it out, so the next process, a part of the process, I don't even know if Alin's figured it out yet, but the next part of the process is to actually swap bodies. So 59 body will go on the 57 chassis, 57 body on the 59 chassis, and we'll go from there. So that's the plan. And again, we've given Alin a bunch of parts. He already has the front apron for the 57 and the rear deck lid for the 57. And a whole bunch of other parts now for it. So we're getting there slowly but surely. So we'll do another session at some point in time where Alin comes over and helps me do the body swap, but that's not going to be today. We're just happy to have it in the garage, and we're going to do some comparisons. I know for a fact, obviously, that the fronts are different on these cars. So these have the depressions for the buckets for the headlights and the depressions here at the bottom, whereas the 57 tub does not. So we're going to have to modify that in some way, shape, or form to reflect that on the 57 tub. But other than that, I don't think there are a lot of other changes that need to be done. I think we're in pretty good shape otherwise. So that's it for right now anyway. We'll probably get back to working on the body work on this car. I think we're going to start with the doors because they're probably the easiest to start with, and that'll be probably the next task I do out here in the garage. But for now, I'm just happy to have the 59 in the garage beside the 57. Thanks for the help.
My car too dusty.
I'll make sure I don't scratch it. All right, thanks very much. All right, guys, Tuesday night, the 16th of May. I think it's just coming up to about 8 p.m. And we're just out here doing a little bit of tinkering and organizing. I mainly came out to find my slotted angle pieces because we're getting pretty close to wanting to exchange the bodies on these cars, and that means I need to brace the doors in order to do a lift off. And I'm thinking that it possibly might happen this weekend, although the weather is not supposed to be great on Saturday. I think it's supposed to be raining and cold. I think it's supposed to be about a high of 15 to 16 degrees Celsius, which is about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. It's actually going down to the freezing mark tonight. We got a frost warning in effect, and the high for tomorrow is about 10 degrees Celsius, so about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Anyway, we're going to probably put an end to this video. It's kind of a random video. I'd started a video, I think, about 3 weeks ago, and had a trip to Hawaii, and then had a trip to Forestville, New York, and then we're back in the Taj Mahal and sort of just doing a little bit of organizing and tinkering. And of course, we managed to get the 59 back in the garage yesterday. So we'll just stitch all of these video clips together, put out a short video so you know that I've actually been out in the garage tinkering around on the car. And you can see some of the things I've been doing. But until we get to the liftoff video, I think that's probably going to be it. Probably start doing some body work on the doors over the next couple days until we get to the weekend, just to keep me busy. Probably the doors are the best place to start. The doors are in pretty good condition, particularly on the passenger side. It's a little better condition than the driver's side. The driver's side needs a little bit of work. So I'll probably do some work on that just to stay busy, since they need to be done anyway. And then, like I said, we'll probably get to thinking about doing the body offs on the weekend if the weather cooperates. Until then, that's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, and thanks for subscribing. And we'll see you on the next video.